About 25 years ago, Carroll Shelby built a high-performance blunt instrument called the Cobra. The Cobra could string together acceleration and top speed numbers that would easily suck the windshield out of just about anything with wheels under it then. And for about $7,000, any Ford dealer would sell you a 427 Cobra. 425 horsepower wrapped in a properly British aluminum roadster that weighed a little more than a ton, so it could pound you back into your seat with a single stab of the throttle. But have you checked the prices on original 427 Cobras lately? This is an original 427 SC Cobra. In all, there were about 1,000 Cobras built by Shelby back in the 60s, and only 32 of them were SCs, race cars that were set up to run on the street. If the owner of this car could be talked into selling it, anything less than $300,000 would probably be considered a bargain. This is not an original Shelby Cobra, but it could probably fool anyone but a blue ribbon expert. It's a Cobra replica or kit car that began life here at ERA Replica Automobiles in New Britain, Connecticut. ERA 427 SCs are considered by many to be the best Cobra replicas on the market. In the world of replicas, the ERA car is the Rich Little of approximating the performance and looks of the original Cobra. Peter Portante, Vice President of Marketing at ERA, says that they're far from the only company building these cars.
I would say in the Cobra replica business, there's about 28 to 30.
Peter has seen almost 300 ERA kits go out the door over the past 7 years. His day is a busy one because he's the guy who handles the countless inquiries and perpetual questions that cross his desk from dawn to dusk, while handling the many less glamorous duties of running a growing business. Where would we find ERA cars today, Peter?
Well, the majority of ERA cars are in the U.S. However, now there are some in Japan, Caracas, and Italy, and a couple in England.
What about ERA customers? Any common denominators?
I think the basic profile is a hard worker who wants a Cobra, who always missed the real one. He was always a couple steps away and was able to finally decide, I'm never going to get a real one. They're just too much money. I'll build a replica.
Carroll Shelby built just over 1,000 Cobras, which is one reason why prices are in deep space today. Will history repeat itself at ERA?
In fact, I had a phone call at my home where someone had asked me, I heard that you folks are going to destroy the moles after you build 1,000 cars. And I said that was absurd. We would never do that, until I really figured out that I'll be 72 years old when we get to number 1,000. So I said, well, maybe they're right. So there'll never be more than 1,000 ERA Cobras.
All right, let's get a cook's tour of the ERA facility. And our guide is Phil Gaudette, the President and Director of Operations at ERA.
Well, basically, we have a half a dozen different operations in 3 or 4 buildings. And the initial operation, of course, is the manufacture of the chassis in the welding and fabricating department. At the same time, the bodies are being made in the fiberglass department. They come together in the initial assembly shop, where the bodies are fitted with the inner panels and so forth, and the chassis, if it has to get painted, gets painted, and the inner panels are fitted into that, and the body and chassis are mated, and from that they go into the final assembly building where the final parts are added to the kit, which would be the interior, the rugs and so forth. Then they get set up with dollies for pre-delivery.
Once someone gets their kit into their workshop, about how long before the finished product?
We tell in our brochures, we say that you can build a kit in 125 hours less paint, and we have had customers actually beat that time.
ERA 427 SCs can be built with just about any motor that can be stuffed into the engine well. Most folks go with authentic Ford big blocks, 427s or 428s usually. The standard kits include most of what you'd need to complete the car, and what isn't included, Peter can probably help find for you. Do you ever get strange requests?
The one that always makes us crazy, believe it or not, are the people with stereos, because you really can't hear too much.
This ERA 427 SC has about $35,000 to $40,000 into it. You could build one for a little less or a little more, depending on your budget and bravery. And it's still about 1/10 the cost of an original 427 Cobra. No, this one doesn't have a radio, but with a 427 400 horsepower Ford side oiler between the fenders, it can make plenty of rock and roll.